Life often feels like a relentless struggle, constant push to achieve more, avoid pain, and control our circumstances. We wake up each day believing that if we fight hard enough, we'll finally find peace and happiness. Yet despite our efforts, the struggle never seems to end. Why is that? Truth is, the struggle we experience is largely self-created. It stems from our deep-seated desire for things to be different than they are. We've been conditioned to view life as a battle, where happiness must be earned through constant effort and control. But what if this belief is the very thing keeping us trapped in a cycle of struggle? In reality, you struggle because you choose to, because you've accepted the idea that life is a battle. But there's another way to live, one that doesn't involve constant conflict. By shifting our perspective and embracing acceptance, we can learn to move with life's natural flow instead of fighting against it. Let's explore how letting go of the need to struggle and transform your life. You'll discover that peace is not something to be fought for, but something that emerges when you stop resisting. Understanding the nature of struggle. Life is a battlefield, but the battles we fight aren't always the ones we think. They're not against other people or even the world around us. The real battles, the ones that exhaust us, drain our energy, and leave us feeling defeated, are the ones we fight within ourselves. Every day we wake up with a list of desires and aversions, things we want to achieve, things we want to avoid. We set out with the hope of winning, of getting what we want, and escaping what we fear. But have you ever noticed how, no matter how hard you fight, the sense of struggle never truly goes away? We're constantly pulled in two directions, towards the things we desire and away from the things we dread. This push and pull, this endless tug of war, is what we call life. But here's the thing, this battle, this constant struggle, is not imposed on us by the world. It's something we create ourselves. And if that's true, then it means we also have the power to end it. Imagine for a moment the possibility of stopping the fight entirely. What would your life look like if you weren't constantly at war with your own desires and fears? It sounds almost too good to be true, doesn't it? But it's not. The truth is, the only reason we're stuck in this cycle of struggle is because we've chosen to be. We've chosen to see life as a series of battles, as a constant fight for control. But what if there's another way to live? A way that doesn't involve constant conflict, but rather peace and acceptance? It's a radical idea, but it's also incredibly simple. And it all starts with changing the way we think. So where does all this suffering come from? Why do we feel like we're constantly fighting, constantly struggling? The answer lies in a single word: attachment. We attach ourselves to things, people, to outcomes. We believe that these things define us, that they are essential to our happiness. But in doing so, we set ourselves up for suffering. Meister Eckhart, Christian mystic from the 13th century, had a profound insight into this. He said, "All suffering comes from our love for what misfortune takes from us." Think about that for a moment. We don't suffer simply because something is taken away from us. We suffer because we were attached to it in the first place. Our love, our attachment, what causes the pain? It's not the loss itself, but our relationship to what was lost hurts us. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, echoed this sentiment centuries earlier. He believed that we should accept everything as if we had desired it. Now, that's a challenging idea. It's one thing to accept what happens to us, but to act as if we wanted it? That seems almost impossible. But Seneca's point was that our suffering comes from the belief that we can control the world around us. We believe that we can shape our lives to our liking, that we can keep the things we want and avoid the things we don't. But the truth is, we can't. This belief in our own control is an illusion, and it's an illusion that causes endless pain. It's like trying to hold back the tide with our bare hands. We might as well try to stop the sun from rising. The harder we fight, the more we suffer, because we're fighting against something that's far beyond our control. Fighting against life itself, and that's a battle we can never win. But what if we stopped fighting? What if, instead of resisting life's challenges, we embraced them? This is where the power of acceptance comes in. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up or resigning ourselves to a life of passivity. It means recognizing that we don't control everything, and that's okay. It means understanding that life isn't something that happens to us, something that happens for us. When we align our will with the natural flow of life, something incredible happens. Our suffering begins to fade. We stop seeing challenges as obstacles to be overcome and start seeing them as opportunities for growth. We start to understand that every experience, whether we perceive it as good or bad, is a chance to learn something new, become a better version of ourselves. Think about it this way. When you stop resisting, you start flowing with life. Imagine you're in a river. You try to swim against the current. You'll exhaust yourself and get nowhere. But if you relax and let the current carry you, you'll move forward with ease. That's what acceptance feels like. It's letting go of the need to control every aspect of your life and trusting that the current will take you where you need to go. This shift from resistance to acceptance is transformative. Like waking up from a bad dream and realizing that the monsters chasing you were never real. The battle we've been fighting all along isn't with the world, it's with ourselves. And the moment we stop fighting, we find peace. Acceptance is not about giving in or giving up. It's about recognizing that life has its own flow, its own rhythm, and that we can either fight against it or learn to move with it. When we choose acceptance, we stop being victims of our circumstances and start becoming masters of our own lives. We stop seeing life as something that happens to us and start seeing it as something we can actively participate in, something we can embrace with open arms. So, are you ready to put down your weapons and embrace life as it is? The truth is, the war you've been fighting all along is one you can end right now, simply by choosing to see things differently. It's a simple choice, but it's one that can change everything. All you have to do is let go of the need to control, to fight, and to resist. Embrace the present moment, accept life as it is, and you'll find a peace that has been there all along, just waiting for you to discover it. Universal wisdom across traditions. As we continue to explore the idea of acceptance, it's important to recognize that this concept isn't just a modern-day self-help mantra. It's a universal truth that has been echoed across cultures, religions, and philosophies for thousands of years. When we talk about acceptance, we're not introducing something new. We're rediscovering a wisdom that has been guiding humanity since the dawn of time. Take Christianity, for instance. Jesus taught his followers to turn the other cheek and to love your enemies. These teachings aren't about weakness or passivity. They're about recognizing the futility of resistance and the power of embracing even those things that seem to oppose us. In accepting others, even those who wrong us, we transcend the cycle of conflict and find a deeper, more lasting peace. Stoicism, a school of philosophy that flourished in ancient Greece and Rome, offers a similar perspective. The Stoics believed that we should cultivate an attitude of indifference towards external events, focusing instead on what we can control, our own thoughts and action. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, or what could more aptly fit your needs." For the Stoics, acceptance was the key to living a virtuous and tranquil life, free from the turmoil of external circumstances. Islam, too, emphasizes the importance of acceptance. The very word Islam is derived from the Arabic word for peace and submission. This submission isn't about subjugation, it's about surrendering to the will of God, understanding that there is a divine wisdom in everything that happens, even when we don't understand it. Quran repeatedly reminds believers to trust in God's plan, to accept what comes their way with patience and faith. In Buddhism, acceptance is at the heart of practice. The Buddha taught that suffering arises from attachment and the desire for things to be other than they are. The path to liberation, then, involves letting go of these attachments and accepting the present moment as it is. This is the essence of mindfulness, being fully present, without judgment, and embracing whatever arises with equanimity. What's fascinating is that despite the vast differences in these traditions, they all converge on this one truth. Acceptance is the path to peace. Whether it's through the teachings of Jesus, the meditations of Marcus Aurelius, the submission to God's will in Islam, or the mindfulness practices of Buddhism, the message is clear. When we accept life as it is, we find a deeper, more enduring sense of peace and contentment. Now, let's address a common misconception, one that might be lingering in your mind right now. Many people hear the word surrender and immediately think of weakness, giving up, of admitting defeat. Surrender, in the context we're discussing, is anything but weak. Actually, one of the strongest, most empowering things you can do. Surrendering to life's flow doesn't mean you stop trying or that you let life happen to you without any input. It means you stop resisting what is. It's about letting go of the illusion of control and embracing the reality that life is full of unpredictability. Change is inevitable, and that trying to fight against it only leads to more suffering. There's a paradox here. By surrendering, by letting go of the need to control every aspect of our lives, we actually gain more strength, more resilience, and more peace. Think of it like a tree in a storm. A rigid tree, one that refuses to bend, is more likely to snap under the pressure of the wind. But a tree that bends with the wind, that moves with the forces acting upon it, survives and even thrives. That's what surrendering to life's flow is all about. Bending, not breaking. This kind of surrender doesn't make you passive. It makes you adaptable. It doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough to recognize that sometimes the best way to care for yourself and others is to go with the flow rather than fight against it. When you embrace this mindset, you find that life becomes less of a struggle and more of a dance. A dance where you move with the rhythm of life rather than against it. And that brings us to the present moment, the only moment we truly have. So much of our suffering comes from living in the past or worrying about the future. We dwell on past mistakes, lost opportunities, and the way things should have been. Or we fret about what might happen tomorrow, next week, or years from now. But in doing so, we miss out on the only thing that's real, present moment. When you live fully in the present, you free yourself from the burdens of the past and the anxieties of the future. You begin to experience life as it is, not as you wish it to be or fear it might become. This is the power of mindfulness, of being fully engaged in the here and now. And when you combine mindfulness with acceptance, you create a powerful foundation for a life filled with peace and joy. Let's take a simple example: waiting in line at the grocery store. It's a small, everyday situation, but it's one that can reveal a lot about how we live our lives. If you're like most people, you probably feel a little annoyed, impatient, maybe even stressed as you wait. You're thinking about all the things you need to do, or maybe you're replaying a conversation you had earlier that day. But what if, instead, you simply accepted the situation? What if you took a deep breath, felt your feet on the ground, and just allowed yourself to be fully present? You'd find that the annoyance fades away, that you're no longer in a rush to get somewhere else, because you're already exactly where you need to be. Living fully in the present doesn't just make life more enjoyable, it also makes you more effective. When you're fully engaged in what you're doing, whether it's a work project, a conversation with a friend, or simply taking a walk, you bring your best self to the moment. You're more focused, more creative, and more at peace. And when you combine this presence with acceptance, you unlock a deeper sense of purpose and fulfillment. As we continue this journey together, I encourage you to explore these ideas in your own life. Notice where you're resisting, where you're holding on to things that are causing you pain, and then, just for a moment, let go. Surrender to the flow of life. Live fully in the present and see what happens. You might be surprised at how much lighter, freer, and happier you feel. Practical applications and personal growth. Now that we've explored the profound wisdom of acceptance, let's talk about how to bring these ideas into our daily lives. After all, understanding a concept is one thing, but living it is another. So how can we start applying acceptance in our everyday situations? The answer lies in small, intentional shifts in how we approach the moments that make up our lives. One practical strategy is to begin each day with a simple affirmation. Today, I accept whatever comes my way. This isn't just a mantra, it's a mindset. It's about preparing yourself to embrace life's ups and downs, knowing that each experience has something to offer. When you set this intention, you're less likely to be thrown off course by unexpected challenges. Instead, you approach them with curiosity and openness. Another approach is to practice mindfulness in everyday activities. Whether you're washing dishes, driving to work, or having a conversation, make a conscious effort to be fully present. Notice your thoughts, but don't get caught up in them. Instead, gently guide your attention back to the task at hand. This simple practice helps you stay grounded in the present moment, reducing the anxiety that comes from worrying about the past or the future. For example, let's say you're stuck in traffic. Normally, this might frustrate you, making you feel like you're wasting time. But with a mindset of acceptance, you can transform the situation into an opportunity for peace. Instead of resisting the reality of the traffic, take a deep breath and accept it. Use the time to listen to an audiobook, practice deep breathing, or simply enjoy a moment of stillness. By doing this, you're not just surviving the situation, you're thriving in it. The benefits of living in harmony with the present are immense. You'll find that you're more at ease, more resilient, and better able to handle whatever life throws your way. Instead of being tossed around by the waves of circumstance, you become like a skilled sailor, navigating life's waters with grace and confidence. To deepen your understanding and practice of acceptance, I encourage you to explore the works of those who have walked this path before us. Meister Eckhart, with his profound insights into the nature of suffering and detachment, offers a spiritual perspective that is both challenging and liberating. His teachings remind us that true peace comes from within, not from the external world. Seneca, with his Stoic philosophy, provides practical advice on how to live a life of virtue and tranquility in the face of adversity. His letters and essays are filled with wisdom on how to cultivate resilience, equanimity, and a deep sense of inner calm, no matter what challenges arise. These timeless ideas are not just ancient relics. They are powerful tools that can enrich our modern lives. By integrating their teachings into our own personal philosophy, we can build a life rooted in acceptance, peace, and inner strength. This isn't about adopting a rigid doctrine. It's about finding what resonates with you and making it a part of your daily life. As you explore these ideas, consider how they can inform your decisions, your relationships, and your overall approach to life. What would it look like to live with the wisdom of Eckhart, the resilience of Seneca, and the mindfulness of the Buddha? How might these ideas help you navigate the complexities of modern life with greater ease and joy? Practice of acceptance is not a one-time decision. It's a lifelong journey. As you continue to embrace life's flow, you'll find that your ability to accept and adapt grows stronger over time. You'll start to notice that situations that once caused you stress or frustration now simply roll off your back. This isn't because life has become easier, but because you've become more resilient, more at peace with what is. Reflect on your experiences as you move through this journey. What have you learned about yourself? How has your perspective on life changed? Use these reflections to guide your ongoing practice of acceptance, allowing each lesson to deepen your understanding and strengthen your resolve. And as you grow, you'll naturally inspire others to do the same. By embodying a mindset of peace, acceptance, and inner strength, you become a beacon of light for those around you. Your actions, your words, and even your presence can have a profound impact on others, encouraging them to adopt a similar mindset. Remember, this journey is not about perfection, it's about progress. Every day is an opportunity to practice, to learn, and to grow. Embrace each moment, each challenge, and each triumph as part of the beautiful tapestry of your life. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of acceptance and personal growth. I hope these ideas have sparked something within you and that you're inspired to apply them in your own life. Remember, the journey to inner peace and strength is one that we're all on together. So keep moving forward, keep embracing life's flow, and I'll see you in the next video.